we're just waxing the bonnet, so it's had 3 coats of wax on the this one should be. It looks amazing. I'm so happy. Welcome back to the channel. So last time we was in the workshop, we was working on Kevin's truck, and this is what we're up to at the minute. So already put 1 layer of fiberglass on it. Now it's quite tricky to get the fiberglass to stick because it's actually be hanging upside down in this bit, so it's quite tricky to get that done. So we put 1 layer on, and it's tack dry now. So now we can actually start to put the rest of it on, and now that's 1 layer's on, we can actually get it on a lot easier now because it actually starts to tack to this and stick to it. So we've got that one done. Tailgate is started to get a layer on the tailgate, so that's got 3 layers on it at the moment. We build it up in layers, so we let that start to tack off as well and start to go hard. We don't put too many layers on in one go, otherwise it will distort the bonnet because of the weight of the fiberglass. So you actually use the fiberglass to stabilize it. So that's got that on there, and also we've got a coat on there as well. So that one we've done after the one by the door. So this one is ready to have this next layer on. So we're going to do this one now, and then by the time that's done, then we can put some more on the tailgate, and then we can go back over and do that one. So there is the tailgate mould finish. Stand back so you have a look at it. So yeah, so now there isn't any nasty bits where the handle used to be. And the other good thing about the mould is, so we got where we put the putty and we filled up the little holes. So when Kevin wants to put this back on his truck, he knows exactly where to drill the holes every single time, because that's going to be a little impression when we make it. So it'd have a little impression of that thing, so he knows where to do the drill hole for it. If you didn't want to do it, it's quite easy. You can just sand them out and they would go away. But yeah, there's the tailgate out. Just going to start on these now. So next thing to do is to take this flange all the way off now, and then we can polish the rest of the panel up, and then we can start to put the gel coat on this. So let's get into taking this apart. So now I have removed that plastic. So the plastic, remember, there was masking tape covering this up, and we glued the masking tape, the plastic to the masking tape, and then we put in the filleting wax, which is the yellow wax or the putty. So now we want to remove it. So we just got a little soft plastic spreader, and we just push that in the gap. It's quite hard to do it with my left hand. So then we just take all of that, clean that out. So when we do the next bit, then when we put the gel coat, after we polished it all, the gel coat will go in that gap, and then we'll end up with no join at all. So then we can drill holes through when everything's finished, we're going to drill holes through everything, all the way through here, trim it all up, and everything will line up again. So just got to finish cleaning that one up, and then polish the whole panels. We still got to fill up the little holes there, put some tape from behind, and then polish the whole thing, and then we can get that into gel coat to start making the second half of this 2-piece mould. So when I was talking about the bedside and stuff, I say I put on the polish. So this is the polish that I use, and as it says on there, it is a maximum mold release wax. So it's specially designed for fiberglassing and composite work. So yeah, so you put it on, leave it to haze, and you just go in with a microfiber towel and buff to a gloss finish. And you just want to spend enough time doing this. We do this multiple times so we know we've got a nice coverage of wax on there, but we don't want to leave any of this stuff because that will actually show up in the mold. So you have to make sure you buff it all off. So I go over with this towel once, and then I'll get a brand new one for the last one, because I've actually done this. This is the 3rd time I've put the wax on it now. So we make sure that we've got a nice coating of wax all over the panel. So now the panel is all ready for the gel coat. So Everything is waxed, everything is nice and clean, tack rag down, all the little holes are stoppered up. So now it's time to mix up the gel coat. So all covered up. You can probably tell we had a show at the weekend. I was up at Santa Pod. It was very, very sunny and I didn't have enough sun protection on. Slap on the wrist for me. But yeah, so let's get these panels in gel coat, and then we're going to put 2 coats of that on so we got a nice layer so we can actually go back and polish the moulds as well. And then we can get on with putting the reinforcement and the fiberglass in. And that'll be that. These panels, once that's done, that is these panels finished. All we'd have to do then is drill the bolt holes through them, and then they're done. And then we can start to work on the cab, and that is the last piece we got to do. So we're getting there with Kevin's truck, and of course then we can paint it. Okay, got the camera operator back with us today. She was at home yesterday editing the video for the main event, the highlights video. So back down here today so we can actually do some more videoing. So gel coat is on, so it's had 2 coats of gel coat now. So we're putting on the reinforcement. So we're just putting the 300 GSM chops down fiberglass on at the minute. That's so we can get it nice and tight, because we've got to try and get it right into this joint. So what I put in the joint to start off with, I put the resin down and I put some of the chopped strand in there, and that means we can just get it right into the corner. So now we're going to put this flange on, and then we can start putting the big pieces on after that. So just getting it nice and wetted down. And what I'd sometimes do is actually, like on that bit, it's quite hard to get the gel coat in it. I actually fold it down and put it on when it's down, and then put it back up. You know when you've got it right. If you see it, if I just do a bit, so if I do that and you see like there's a white piece there, or where it's here, where it's laid down, it's still white. When the fiberglass is done properly, it actually almost goes see-through. So that's when you know you've got enough on it. It's not too much bad if you get too much resin on at this point, because we're going to put a couple of layers of the 300 on top of this. So the excess resin will go into the next layers. So when you put it on, you can roller it on. And when I say roller, if you took a picture of the roller, it's up on the bench there. So that's the rollers we use. So if they're a ribbed roller, and the idea is that is so it gets the air out and it reconsolidates the fiberglass. So that's that one almost done. So I'll get the roller out in a second. So like where you go around the corner here, it does stretch it, so you have to put a little bit more in that area later. But let's get the roller out now. So we've got different size rollers. This is a fairly small one, and this one we call the pizza cutter. That is for getting into that joint there. That's the hardest joint to get. Am I going too quick? Yeah. Right. Swap sides. And now just going to roll out all the air. Alright, now it's time to put on the next big bit, which is already hanging up. So I've already pre-cut them. Make sure I get it round the right way. So that is that end. Yep. So all the mould, all the panel has got resin on it already, so as soon as you put it on there it will try and start to soak it up. Just got to get it in the right place. So we're fairly close at that. It's in the right place now. Might just need to pull it down this way a little bit further. There we go. So look, as you put it on there, you can see the resin's already starting to come through because that's where we've already wetted it. And that's what I was trying to explain. If you put too much resin on it, it doesn't really matter because we're going to put more and more levels of the resin on at the minute anyway. So then what I'm going to do now is I'll fold that piece back because it's harder to get the resin to go uphill. So if you put it on the back of it, get that in there. Tap it in with a brush. If you wet this is what I was on about with stretching it. So if you just wet this out now. You can see it's starting to go thin. And now we're fairly close at that. Go get the scissors. The excess off. I know on the last video a lot of people said I didn't show how I was doing it. It does take a while to do this. So we're just doing this one as a little bit more in depth because I didn't think people would find it interesting, but quite a few of you did. It's probably because no one really shows how you do it. People say, oh, I've just fiberglassed this, but no one ever actually shows you what's involved. So that is that mostly done. See, it's got a big bubble in it there. You can just get the roller and just roller it out. Roll that piece off. There you go. So that's what I was on about. When you roller it, it will stretch it out on this piece. So we actually put a piece back in there later. It doesn't matter because when you fiberglass it, it all consolidates it all back together anyway. So I think you've got a rough idea of how I do it now. So like on this edge again, just fold that edge up. Put the resin on. Fold it back down. And that's how you stick the edge down. So we'll just do that all of the top edges, and this bit, because it's got gravity on there, it holds itself down really easy. So I'm going to carry on doing the rest of it and we'll come back when it's finished because we've already done one. So here is the panel all covered with 2 layers of 300 GSM. So that's the first bit of it done. So we're just letting this to flash off now. I can show you what it looks like when it flashes off, because this one is just about ready. So now if we touch it, see it's starting to spring back. So that means it's stuck down to it now. So then we can start to put on the extra layers now. So we're going to put 600 GSM back on this now. We're going to put 5 layers of that on there. Yeah, so that is where we are at the minute. So there are the moulds finished. All we got to do is just wait for them to dry out, and then we can soft trim them off. And there's the other one and the bumper. So all the mould we got to make now is the cab mould. So it's the next day. The panel is all dry. Really, look how thick the flanges are on this, so this is going to be quite good. So what we did, electric drill, you just drill through from the back, through the holes. So when we take this apart, everything lines up. So you have to do that before you take it apart. If you didn't do that, you'll find that when you go to put it back together, nothing will quite line up. So the next bit is just to get the wedges. So I've got a whole load of different styles of wedges and bits of Lexan to help get panels out, but let's get a fairly small one. Some small ones. Got different hammers. So I've got a rubber hammer, dead blow hammer. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the end flange. And probably just get that in there. And that's that one off. Just pulled a little bit of paint off of there, but that's from in here anyway, so that bit wasn't stuck. But we can just sand that back now and then polish that up. So that's that part of it done. The next part is to try and get this whole mould off. So what we're going to do now is actually turn it upside down and take this panel out from inside the big one. Okay, so now we've got the panel on the table, so we've got a nice little gap in here. Just get the wedge. That's enough. And then we just chase it all the way around. So we want to go around all the edges first. And just make sure it's broken free all the way around. So you hear a little bit of creaking and crackling. It actually generates static electricity when you're doing this. So I'll just come around to this top bit now. Right, so I'm on just still going down this top edge. And then what I'll do next is I'll go around the bottom edge next. Just keep tapping it. All right. You can't go too mad in the corners, because if you imagine when this is trying to push it, it's actually trying to push it that way. So you don't want to go wedge your wedge in right the way there and break, because it'll actually try and break the panel. So you have to leave that one. So you just, that's enough for that. All right, now I'm going to start along the bottom edge, and then I can start along the corners. Right, so that's how it started. Push some of it by hand. panel's already starting to come out. That's going to be nice. Oh, lost that one. Let's put a bigger one on, more to grip hold of. Let's get the wedge back in between there. Just carry on tapping it all the way round. Okay. Just got to remember to be careful in the corners. And then, cool, right, just one back edge, so we leave this one alone at the minute. Right, and that should be enough. Like, we should be able to get it out now. A little bit of a wiggle. Okay, it's stuck a little bit up here somewhere. Wedge in there. Where is it stuck? Trying to work out where it's actually stuck. It feels like it's stuck about here somewhere. Here we go. And the panel is out. Leave that to stand there. Right, then we go back and check the mould. So that's the edge we clean up. And a little bit of stick in there, but not too bad. We can polish that out the mould. So when it all goes back together, this piece will bolt on. And then you can see the join where the two pieces join together. So that any gap that is left would actually be filled up with gel coat, and you would just sand that piece off and you'd end up with a perfect panel. So that's how it all bolts back together like that. So that is how we make a two-piece mould for Kevin's truck. A few more wedges in it. And I think we're almost ready to come out now. We've gone all the way around the edge. There we go. Let's take the wedges off. There we go. And there's our bumper mould with no grill holes in it. Okay, so a little bit later, so the panels are now sanded again. Now you have to make sure you get all that wax off. So we have to sand, well, panel wipe it 4 times, sand it, panel wipe it again. So we got the bed sides and the tailgate hanging up. So now we're going to put them back into primer, and then we can sand them again in the morning, and then we can put the colour on. What colour is it going to be? So while that lot's drying, let's get on and work on the rest of the cab. So I've started putting the flanges on just like we did on the bed sides. So we got one flange that's already on, so you have to mask up it a bit, as you remember, and then we hot glue it all together. So I'm just up on the top of it now. So I've made up the templates for these. So that's going to go in. It's quite hard to do it with one hand, but it goes in there like that. Oh, it's moving, and then we hot glue that piece in, and then we have to put a join in it there because my the plastic I use isn't long enough. So then that'll go in there, and then we just cut it and then put resin tape on the joint so it doesn't go behind it. So that's what we're up to now. So yeah, so this is going to be a 4-piece. So it's going to have that side, the front panel, the roof panel, and the other side. So that's going to be a 4-piece when it all bolts together. There you go. So that's what we are at the minute. So here is the mould all ready. So it's got all the flanges on it now. And of course we put in the putty in there, so the filleting wax. And this is what I was explaining. So if you have to cut it at any point, or like here we have to join 2 pieces together, you put some resin tape over the top of it so we don't get the gel coat going behind it. So that's it ready now. So both sides are done, all waxed up, all ready to go. So let's get some gel coat on it. It's exactly the same procedure as doing the other moulds. So we just got to put 2 coats of gel coat on it, and then we can start putting on the glass reinforcement. So that is what it looks like now. So it's only got 1 coat on it at the moment of the gel coat. We actually have to put 2, but we have to leave it to flash off in between coats. So while that's doing that, let's get on to doing some more sanding on those bed sides. So while the cab gel coat is drying, let's get back on to these. So these are the bed sides now. So they're all in primer. Got the guide coat on it again. Now this time we've got to be really careful when we flat it. We can't go through the white. The reason for that is the colour Kevin is painting his truck is, a lot of you have already guessed it, it's going to be red. And it's actually a Ferrari red. So it's a Ferrari Rosso Corsa, which is a base coat and clear. So it's not a solid colour. So it's a base coat, which we have to put a lacquer onto it. So we should get a really good shine out of that. But the problem with red, if you go through it, especially because we know it's black underneath here, the black will show up. So if you paint it red and you go through, where the darker colour is underneath, red is quite transparent and it will show up as a ring. So if you ever do painting in your car red and you've gone through on it, you're going to have to put a light coat. You can even just put a white base coat underneath and just put the red straight on top of it, but you have to cover it up first. So let's get on to wet flatten these back, and then we can get on to painting them. All the panels now are sanded, panel wiped, tack ragged, and we're ready to go. So we're going to be shooting the base coat red. So we're just waiting for all the red to flash off now, because this is actually a base coat. Normally, when I would be painting a red, it would be a solid colour. Solid colour means it's gloss at the end of it. So you'll put the paint on and that'll be it finished. This is actually a base coat on this colour, so it needs a lacquer on top of it. And we just have to wait for it now to flash off to get all that solvent that's in it out of the panel, and then we can put on the clear coat. Wow, they come out really, really nice. Don't know if it shows it up in the camera. Can't really. It doesn't look compared to the black, because the black ends up like a mirror, but you can still see it's got a hell of a shine on it. There's no orange peel in it at all. So yeah, really, really happy how they've come out for an off the gun finish. So I don't think they're going to even need polishing. But yeah, I think Kevin's going to be really happy. He's picked a really, really good colour. So while the panels are drying, I've managed to give it another coat of the gel coat. So it's been a really busy day today. Managed to just time everything about right. So like when something's drying, go and do some sanding. When something's painted, we can do some more gel coat. Haven't wasted any time. I haven't even had time to eat today. But I'm going to go home now, and we'll catch you again in the morning, because then those panels will be dry, and then we can start putting on the reinforcement onto that. So here is the cab. It's got this side. This has only got just 2 layers on it at the moment. It's got a few more extra bits in here just to stiffen it up on the corner. Now, I don't want to go too heavy with it too quick, because it might distort. So what I've done is I've just beefed up the top here. So that's actually got 4 layers up on the top, but I don't want to put too much weight down here yet until all that's hard. I have got it tight together at the back, but I haven't got it tight together at the front. So I want to make this go off now, and then I can start putting some more layers on, because actually this would actually start to stop it from twisting. So we're just going to take it slowly. So I'm going to do this side now while that is drying, and then by the time I've got this one finished, I should be able to put some more on the other side. So I've got the bonnet in, forgot to film it. So yeah, so it's all been sanded and degreased and panel wiped and everything like that. So this time, because I've got to paint this front bit black, I've put a different primer on it. So this is a self-etching primer, which it's not very high build, but because we're going to paint this satin black, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do next, once this is all flashed off and dried, is mask up the edge of it and paint this bit black before we actually put the extra primer on it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that bit yet, or prime it, or just mask that piece up, because I don't want to have to sand that, because it's got all that intricate bit around there. It's taken ages to sand it by hand, and I don't want to sand it again. So this primer, you can actually put the paint straight on top of it without having to sand it. It's very, very fine primer, no building it at all. It's just for adhesion. So I'm going to let that go off. I might just mask it up and then put the rest of the white primer on that high build stuff, because it's got quite a coarse grain on the top of this where they've actually made it, which I didn't really realise, but it's going to go all right. So this is just flashing off now. Going to leave this for a while now, probably 2 hours at least, for that to go really, really quite hard. So while that's happening, let's get on and do some more work on the cab. Well, that's the red arrows going over. Oh, they sound awesome. Right, the cab, this side of the cab is finished. So that's had all the 300 on it. Now he's actually got all the 600 on it as well. So we do it in stages. So that side's done completely. So what I've done on this side, so this has just got the 300 on it at the moment, but if you look at the top's a lot thicker. So I've put a lot of 600 in there already. That is, so when that dries, because I'm gonna leave this overnight to go, and then we have to sand it like I did on the other side. I don't actually know if I showed it. So when you put the 300 on, the 2 layers of that, afterwards you go over and sand it to rough it up. If you watch the one I did the bonnet, you can see exactly the same as when I've done the front of the bonnet. So yeah, so it's already got the 600 on the top. That is so when that dries tomorrow, I can take off the flanges then, and then I can gel coat the roof. And while the gel coat's going off, I can do this side with the 600, and then I can go on and do the roof at the same time. So now the self-etching primer is dry on the bonnet. So what I've done at the front is I've done a soft mask. So I've basically, when you do this, you don't end up with a really sharp masking line. So we can actually fade it out, because this is where the chrome's going to be. So yeah, so all we have to do now is just go over with some light Scotch-Brite. Just scotch up the panel, and then we can put on the primer. So the bonnet is now all in primer. So this is what I was trying to explain. When you do this piece here, if you pull that bit back, when you feel it, there is absolutely no edge, because it's on the curve, and you just flap that little piece back. But just got to put it in its, put the guide coat over it now so we can wet sand the white. We're not going to wet sand that, we're just going to dry buff it with Scotch-Brite, and then we can put on the black, mask all that back up, and then paint the red. Okay, so we're back on the front clips. Sanded all the white, and I've unmasked it again now. So this is the bit where we put the self-etching primer in across, and now we're going to just paint this bit black. And basically I've reversed masked it again, so we're going to have quite a soft edge up on that. Just got to pull this little bit up a little bit. There we go. So then we can paint that all black, and then we can let that flash off, then mask it all up, and then put the red on, and then lacquer everything all in one go. And we should have quite a nice finish with that. So let's put the black on now. Only going to use a very, very small gun. Just going to use this little one there to blow that in. It's quite a fine spray on it. It doesn't actually get much overspray on it, so we don't even have to mask up that part. So let's get on with it now. It's now painted black. So this is a base coat black. This is what I was on about. It doesn't actually do much overspray, so I'm spraying right up to the edge. Look at, there's hardly any overspray of it at all. So it's a really, really small spray gun, that one. But it does this sort of thing really nice. So just left that flash off. Now we can unmask the rest of the bonnet now, and then we're going to mask up the black, and then we can paint the red. The front clip is finished. It's turned out really nice. It looks so striking with that black front, but it's not going to just end up black. VK Graphics are going to come in, and they're going to wrap like the bezels, put in the headlights, on the top of all the ribs, that's going to be chrome. The bottom piece down the bottom, that's going to be chrome. They did come in and have a look at it, because originally we was going to do this, or chrome everything, and then put the black inserts, like these pieces, back in black. Now, the wrap doesn't like to sink right back into the corners. It's quite hard. You can see me in the reflection on it. Yeah, so that's reason why I've had to paint it black, and they're going to do the highlights with chrome afterwards. Also, the reason I painted it right like this is so you don't end up with a hard edge. You can't actually feel the join between the red and the black. It's turned out really nice. I think Kevin's going to be really happy. It looks so striking. Can't wait to see the rest of it finished. Well, weather's taken a turn for the worst. It's raining. You can probably hear that on the microphone. Cab is finished. It's been a monster of a thing to do, but it wouldn't be any other thing if it wasn't a monster truck. Yeah, so that's all the fiberglass done on it. So got both sides, the front panel and the roof panel, they're all done now. Just got to wait for them to dry so we can demold it and take the cab out. So it's all taken apart. So here are the side panels off the mould, so they're all done. So these are all the flanges where it all bolts together. The front panel there, you can see where it's still got all the putty in it, so we can know where to put the holes, and the roof panels just over the back. But we've got the cab back in the spray booth again now. We're on sanding it down duties, so we're wet flatten again. We've degreased it a few times. Now we'll wet flatten it again, and then we can start to paint it red. It's all finished! Wow. It looks amazing. I'm so happy how it's come out. All that time sanding it was worth it. No horrible wobbles in it anymore. It looks gorgeous. Wowee. All we got to do now is let it flash off, harden off. Hopefully it's going to be a nice sunny day tomorrow. We can get it out in the sun and let the sun really cure it off, because next VK Graphics are going to come down and put on the artwork. It's going to look spectacular. Which way do you want it round? You ready?
We had that in first last time, but I reckon that would be probably better up against the bulkhead in there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, maybe I'll put it in it, whichever way you want it.
You're in charge, you made it.
I'll pull that out.
Alright. Are we holding it?
Wherever you want.
Don't scratch it! Don't scratch it! I don't think it'll go on its back, will it? We've got going on this one, innit? Yeah. Put it right up against that, it will mark it up, won't it?
Yeah.
Is it wobbly, is it?
We've got a ratchet strap, but...
When I transport my one, I have to stand them up because mine's too wide anyway, but I don't think yours is tall enough to get it.
It might be better when it's on its back, actually. Can we turn it on its back in here, do you reckon?
We'll go. That's how I normally do mine, is I transport it on its back.
Should do that then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And then just get a bit of cloth under this bit of it.
Yeah. Quite handy, these things. I don't think you can buy them in England, can you?
No, they're really good. When you put like stuff from America, that's what they come in, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll get some cardboard and we'll wedge some cardboard down the back of it.
Yeah.
Okay, today the body is finished. It looks awesome, but yeah, so we didn't quite get the graphics on it in time for today, so you'd have to wait out and find what it is called. But we're up here doing some testing up at Santa Pod. Also, we're doing some filming for Channel 5 for CMG. They're recovery people, but they also a sponsor of the UK Monster Truck Nationals. So they've actually brought Kevin's truck up here today. They've come up early in the morning. Truck is all built up now. It's on its big wheels. We've done all the tyre pressures. The tyre pressures were really low. There's at 8 PSI in there. Kevin's just getting changed now. And now he's got to do his in-cab I can't even say it, familiarisation. He's getting changed. I can't show you. It's not. Is it safe now? It's on now. So Kevin's getting changed. So yeah. So we got to do in-cab familiarisation now. God, that's not easy to say.
So he's got to show where all the controls work in the monster truck when he's got a blindfold on. So that's the thing we're going to do first before we get to drive.
Telling me it wasn't how I was going to go.
Alright, so if you reverse it back up now,
I think I've done it on my own, I'm quite easy.
It's wide enough. It's wide enough to drive up like it is.
Yeah.
So go back and then come up how you feel like you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And just stop with all the wheels on the ramps. Don't go
on
over
the
the ramps.
Stop.
Yeah, so
back
you're
off
going to
again.
go backwards, come up to the ramp and drive with the wheels on the ramp, but don't drive over the top.
Alright.
And then go back.
Well, you'll see me back.
And then you can do a jump.
And you'll see me back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Start it up.
Just start it up.
Okay, so we're just wrapping up the filming here at Santa Pod. Kevin's doing his final piece to camera. Truck's done fairly well. We've had a couple of little issues with it. So we had a problem with it where the breathers are on the engine. When he was doing some really tight turns with it, it was pouring a bit of oil out, but that's quite an easy thing to fix. Found a few little water leaks on it, but that's nothing too bad. But yeah, the suspension on the truck is working really well. It took a little bit of dialing in, but I think Kevin should be happy with that. Let's go and have a word with Kevin now.
I don't think I need a helmet.
Go on, you need a helmet.
How do you
Yeah.
get any footage for his YouTube channel?
I haven't got much, I keep forgetting.
Oh, we have to nick some of our footage then, won't you?
Yeah. So Kevin, well done, buddy. Let's go this way.
Oh, there he is.
How did you find it?
Oh, amazing, mate. Thank you so much. I mean, without you, I would have really struggled. I mean, I had pictures from Vegas, I had people in America helping out, but to actually have you here helping me and like guiding me through it.
It was really good. The truck, the way the suspension for like straight out of the box.
Yeah.
It lands so nice.
I've done all right.
Yeah, you done all right. It was really good.
Am I novice for intermediate or?
You're above a novice. The way you handled it, you never made one mistake with the rear steering. That's the biggest thing with a monster truck is the rear steering.
So I put it on the laminator, so it felt the same.
Yeah, so you got that straight away. But yeah. Well done, Kev.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
That's the right place to get it. Right. Yeah, good. Is that last one off? Right. Checking for more.
Oh.
So if you just go on the other side of it and just push out the bottom of your leg. That's a lot easier.
The crew chief is landing.
Hold it, you're on the...
Ugga-dugger's getting it. Have you got any? We haven't got any tyre damage, have we, at all?
No, apart from you worn a bit off.
Yeah, a little bit. How much do you reckon came off? I don't reckon that much came off, because still got the knobblies, look.
Yeah, what you end up, you actually end up melting them. When you
Yeah.
do it. If you have a look at some of mine, you can see where it's melted.
Yeah.
If you get the guy with the forklift, Russ, you can load them up onto the truck.
Max is here. He's a bit worried about it. How do you want them lifted?
I don't care.
The way I pick them up, is open up the forks and pick them up like that and we just lay them down.
Yeah.
I'm standing up, we're laying down.
As long as the forks don't go through the middle, and they don't knacker with me beadlock ring, I'm
Go
happy.
here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We'll open up the forks and pick them up from there, just like they are, and then just drop them down.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah. Tony's in charge. I need to relax now. My adrenaline level, whatever you call it's gone. It's depleted. What do you call it? No, just like the energy or whatever it's called. How much can it lift, that thing?
What?
How much can it lift?
You can lift the whole truck.
What, the whole thing?
Yeah.
Can it?
up at the end, Kev?
Yeah, pretty much right at the end. You had a plastic box on there before, and you had to take it off because it wouldn't fit.
We can push them down with the fork.
Yeah. Oh, Claire's ringing. Claire's ringing.
Let's see.
Yeah.
All right.
Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Filling the lungs inside you, and the blackened eyes make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew, restless every